most advanced research facility in the world.
Wow.
Beneath its glassy surface, a world of gliding monsters.
A team of specialists is working against the clock
Did someone order the fish?
on an experiment to benefit mankind.
Sharks never show any loss of brain activity as they age.
We're this close to the reactivation of a human brain cell.
But before they can save millions of lives,
Tell me I didn't see that. They recognize that gun.
It's impossible. Sharks do not swim backwards. They can't.
they'll have to find a way to save their own.
You know, movie fans went many years without a big-budget shark movie, and then in the summer of 1999, Deep Blue Sea was released, directed by Finnish director Rennie Harlin.
Good old Rennie.
Are you familiar with Rennie Harlin?
I am, actually. I was surprised to find out.
He's done a bunch of stuff.
He's done a bunch of stuff. His story, I mean, his first big thing was Nightmare on Elm Street 4 Dream Master, if I'm correct. And yeah, before that, he did finish, like, music videos. And
yeah, I think he did a movie in Finland that was like the biggest movie in Finland, that it was supposed to have Chuck Norris in it, and he like dropped out last minute, and then he put his kid in it. But it was like the biggest production ever in Finland. He had a lot of like hits and misses. It's like Nightmare on Elm Street. Then he did The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, which was like the failed Andrew Dice Clay vehicle. Then he did like Die Hard 2, which was a huge hit.
Oh, Die Hard 2, but also like one of the weakest of the Die Hard franchise.
Yeah. I'm not too familiar, but that he came back with that. Then he did Cliffhanger.
Oh, Cliffhanger. All right. That's a good Stallone pick.
Lots of stuff all over the place with these movies. And I think Deep Blue Sea is probably his last like film of note. Deep Blue Sea stars Saffron Burrows, Thomas Jane, Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Rapaport, and LL Cool J.
Star-studded cast.
Yeah. And LL Cool J also contributed 2 songs to the soundtrack, Deepest Bluest and Say What.
What?
I don't remember Say What. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Definitely remember Deepest Bluest.
Is that in the credits or just on the album?
I think it plays during the credits or some point during the movie.
Mm-hmm. Definitely Deepest Bluest.
Yeah. I mean, the corporate actor-rapper hybrid was a big product of the 90s.
Sure. Yeah.
You know? I guess the most successful being Will Smith, who was doing rap songs for the soundtracks of his films until at least like 1999.
Mm-hmm.
I still have the Burger King Wild Wild West marketing deeply implanted into my psyche. But LL Cool J never quite reached the heights of Will Smith.
No, certainly not.
He did have a pretty good run, though. His acting's not bad. It's like, I guess it's not too much of a surprise because most of the rappers who transition into acting, they're pretty good at it. Except for like Snoop. Snoop was kind of bad. The Bones movie.
Oh.
Snoop Dogg vehicle.
For Rizzo. Yeah.
It just feels like he just doesn't even want to be there. Deep Blue Sea will definitely draw a comparison from Jaws, but also it feels like it's pulling a lot from Jurassic Park. Like just like plot elements, characters.
They even get Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
He doesn't say hold on to your butts, unfortunately.
Yeah, I guess he was a bigger name at this point.
Sure, yeah.
You know?
He did Pulp Fiction by then and, a couple other things. He was definitely a household name.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction and those movies made him huge. But like the movie is very Spielbergian. It's like the only thing is it doesn't have like the suspenseful reveal of the monster. They don't really tease the sharks in Deep Blue Sea. They're just kind of there.
Right. Whereas Jaws, the mechanical shark kind of looked bad, so they cut around it and they focused more on the characters. And Jurassic Park was kind of like the slow reveal of dinosaurs. Oh, it's a tiny one. And oh, wow, it's a huge one. An hour into the movie already. But Deep Blue Sea gets right into it. They just show you sharks.
Yeah.
You get it. It's sharks. They're sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep Blue Sea is basically Jaws meets Jurassic Park if both of those movies were bad. You know?
2 bad movies. 2 negatives don't make a positive, unfortunately. But, you can try.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give Deep Blue Sea 3 stars. I was a little bit on the fence about it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I don't know. It's kind of entertaining. And it's like, honestly, it's probably the best shark movie of the 1990s.
Okay.
Which
isn't really saying too much.
It's not saying too much, but I think I have to give it 3 De Niro's.
Usually you give things lower stars. But it seems like
I'll
for as bad of the movie as
let's go through it. By the end, I might change my mind. So the intro for Deep Blue Sea is similar to Jaws and Jurassic Park, to the point where you might think Deep Blue Sea was like a scary movie type parody of a Spielberg film.
Sure.
Yeah,
it does start out very similarly. Yeah.
In the opening scene, there are 2 college-age couples on a big sailboat, which I guess is supposed to be on the open ocean, but it's obviously not. The water is so still. It's just a boat in a pool.
Yeah, it's definitely it's either a tank or a lake, but it's supposed to be the ocean because sharks. Water.
Anybody who's been on the open ocean knows it is not
It's
like
not
that.
like that. You are rocking and rolling. And these kids are rocking and rolling, if you know what I'm saying.
So, anyways, these 4 kids are having a party. I think one of them even says out loud, "We're having a party, man." It's like
He literally says we're having
pretty
a party.
on the nose.
While they listen to 90s R&B.
Yeah.
That actually also, it didn't even sound like 99 music. It felt like 1993 kind of beats. You know, and I was like, what are these kids doing?
It's a familiar scene riddled with cliches like most of Deep Blue Sea. Sexual innuendos are flying around when suddenly the boat is attacked by a large shark who bursts through the deck, knocking all 4 passengers into the water.
Yeah, he smashes right up through the center of it.
Yeah, which is pretty funny because you see one of the couples, like the guy's head hits the girl's head, fall in the water.
Yeah, he blasts her pretty good. Yeah, I felt that was a pretty decent stunt. I went, ooh, when I saw it.
And then the shark circles around and it's headed towards one of the couples who's clinging to the side of their dad's destroyed boat. It's just about to take a bite out of this girl's butt when suddenly, out of nowhere, the shark is harpooned by Carter Blake.
Ooh, played by Thomas Jane.
Yeah.
The
Aquatica's shark wrangler.
Yeah. Does he say, I'm Aquatica's shark wrangler right there? Okay.
No, I'm just telling you
Just
because I
telling us,
watched
huh?
it.
Okay, yeah.
That's who he is.
Yeah. And Aquatica will be the company that is doing things that we get involved with.
Yeah, Aquatica is a sea-themed metal band that is responsible for saving these teenagers.
Hits such as I'm a Barbie Girl.
Is that band called Aquatica too?
They're called Aqua.
Oh, okay. So the harpoon keeps the shark from reaching the horny college kids, which seems pretty implausible.
Right. Sharks, when they smell that horny kid smell in the air, it's stronger than blood. They just gotta go for it.
Yeah. This scene requires more suspension of disbelief than you want to give a movie, but it's still pretty entertaining.
You don't think you could hold back a shark with a harpoon in it or whatever?
I don't think so.
Just standing on the side of a boat.
There's so much bad logic in this movie. It's almost too tedious to go through it all. Like they're climbing up the side of this boat to get away from the shark, and then when it gets harpooned, they just stop and sit in the water and like stare back at the shark. They would still be trying
I'd get the hell out of that water. There's sharks in it.
Yeah.
Dumb horny kids, that's what they get.
So that's the Jaws ripoff part of the intro. Granted, it feels more like something from a Jaws sequel than anything that Spielberg would be involved with.
Yeah, like Piranha 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next is the Jurassic Park part of the setup, where we learn the couple from the previous scene was attacked by a genetically modified shark that had escaped from a research facility doing breakthrough Alzheimer's research on the brains of mako sharks.
This is Ronnie Cox saying all this? The classic.
He's just kind of sitting there.
The classic CEO, he's in this one shot.
He's just there for no reason at all.
Meanwhile, Sam Jackson stands behind him at the CEO board. But it's funny. I guarantee they got him from like one day for like 2 hours. He was like, I guess I'll be a CEO again.
Yeah,
I have a suit.
Yeah, I didn't even recognize him at first, but he's just uselessly sitting there. I think maybe he says one or two things.
Yeah.
So Dr. Susan Mcallister, played by Saffron Burrows, has a meeting with Russell Franklin, the Samuel L. Jackson character.
Oh, she is beautiful, by the way. I know it's nice to see, I like my scientist women in movies to be pretty.
Sure.
Not saying that's not possible.
Yeah.
I have a attractive.
But I tell you, whoever
friend,
photoshopped the poster of Deep Blue Sea really enhanced her chest.
Added deeper plunging cleavage.
Yeah, she's way bigger breasts on the poster than she does in real life. Saffron Burrows is having a meeting with Russell Franklin, and he's the CEO of the company who's financing the whole thing. And he's concerned about the sharks and the company's liability, safety concerns, all seemingly valid and logical concerns.
Right.
So Dr. Mcallister gives him an emotional speech about her father, who had Alzheimer's disease.
That sucks. Very
ham-handed character development. And then just a typical hot white girl response to criticism. She cries and tells you about her dad.
Okay.
He's like, 4 people almost died because of your shark experiment. What do you have to say for yourself? My pop couldn't remember stuff. It's like, okay.
Yeah. that makes you feel, Gary. That's feelings.
Yeah. Well, she's used to just crying and telling, dudes about her dad, and they give her whatever she
Right.
wants.
Okay, well, sorry, babe. Here's you want like another drink?
Yeah.
What
What
are you drinking?
You want
there?
another $300 billion for your shark experiment?
Yeah.
Then Susan claims that if the board gives her until Monday, she would show them results that will make the stock skyrocket in value.
It fucking worked, Gary. All you got to do is cry, and they'll give you 3 more days.
Yeah, and then she storms out like a pouting teenager. And then...
Don't look at me!
yeah. And then cut to the next scene. It's just Susan Mcallister and Russell Franklin in a little plane that she's flying. So we're to believe that this 23-year-old model, neuroscientist, marine biologist who's doing groundbreaking medical research is also a licensed pilot.
Yeah.
It's a weird transition because, she just stormed out of the room all mad, like there was conflict. Now they're just sitting
We're
in
not
going
to talk anymore.
chatting.
And now, hey, what do you think of what do you think of the ocean?
This scene just exists to wedge in the Russell Franklin backstory.
Yeah.
Right. Basically, Russell was involved in a failed attempt to scale Mount Everest. Which, if I've ever learned anything from watching Def Jam comedy specials in the 90s, it's that black people don't do that stuff,
Sure, it's
but,
it's
big
only
Hollywood
idiots.
movie, let's suspend disbelief.
Yeah, and in fact, I think LL Cool J points it out in the movie at some point.
Yeah, he does the same hack line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's letting them know, so,
The
I guess these are the
characters
lessons.
in this movie are so bad.
I mean, to be fair, dude, anybody who goes to Everest is a psychopath. 1 in 10 people die still, right? And that's, there's such a big chance that you can die. It is not worth it. Plus, it's going to cost you like $40,000 to do it. And at the top of Everest, you stand in a fucking line to get your picture at the top. Because so many people are doing it. And not to say that so many people do it, because there is only like a 2-month period where it's like safe enough and like clear enough where you can go up. But the whole experience is just like, it's pretty stupid white person thing to tackle.
So this guy, he made an attempt to scale Everest, right? So he's like a hero. He saved lives, but he's haunted by those he didn't save. So the character has this weight that he's bringing with himself to this abandoned Navy facility turned shark research lab, which again is supposed to be on the open ocean. But if that was true, it would be much higher above the water line, which would be fluctuating a great deal.
Rocking around, yeah.
It looks more like they're on a lake or in a harbor because this was shot in a big tank of water in Burbank, California, where there is no ocean or sharks, but there are predators in Burbank.
Yeah. Actually,
I think Nickelodeon is based there, and who knows what those sick fucks were up to in the late 90s. When Deep Blue Sea came out, the Nickelodeon logo was just a small child's foot with Dan Schneider's cum on it.
oh, gross. Oh, nasty.
But you were going to correct me, Russ. It wasn't really shot in Burbank.
It actually wasn't shot in Burbank. So thankfully, the cum footprint.
Yeah, thankfully nobody was harmed by Dan
abandoned.
Schneider or a shark.
Yeah. Well, we won't say no one was harmed by Dan Schneider. It was actually shot in Mexico.
Yeah.
In the same
in a big tank. It's some sort of tank.
in a big
setup.
tank, like a big wave tank that they built for Titanic.
Yeah.
And so it was recycled. So they were able to just
They saved a little bit of money.
saved a bunch of money by because they already had the infrastructure that pumps thousands of gallons of water just into sets and stuff,
Yeah.
And that will come into play later.
So billionaire CEO adventurer Russell Franklin arrives at the Aquatica facility, and upon arrival, marine biologist Jan Higgins takes him around to meet the cast of characters, which is a mix of familiar faces, but also some relatively unknown actors like Thomas Jane, who plays Carter Blake, the edgy, cool shark wrangler.
He just swims with sharks. He's so cool.
Yeah.
And blonde.
Yeah.
And it looks like he had to swim a bunch. He's got great back muscles.
Yeah, now this guy he outswims sharks in the water. Yeah. Okay.
Sharks can swim like 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. He's set up first in the intro when he saves the horny co-eds. And again, when Russell Franklin lands on the boat, he gets in the water with a shark that's just been transported in and pulls a license plate from its mouth.
Yeah. The same license plate that was in Jaws, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Funny.
This is a very stupid scene for many reasons, but mainly because a human can't outswim a shark or contain a shark in the water. The shark wrangler character is portrayed like a guy who wrestles alligators.
Yeah.
And Carter Blake has these ridiculous confrontations with sharks multiple times in the movie. It's like he's the Steve Irwin of sharks.
Sure.
It doesn't make any sense.
But even alligators and Steve Irwin, alligator wranglers and Steve Irwin befall horrific animal attacks.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I hope this guy dies in the water like Steve Irwin does.
Just
because he's a fucking asshole.
Punched through by a shark.
So
get his balls bit off.
Yeah, it's very fucking stupid. Why don't they take the license plate out of the shark once tranquilized when they were fucking transporting it? Why the fuck it was alive when they put it in a truck? It makes no fucking sense.
Hey man, you gotta set him up as being cool, comfortable with sharks, so that when
this guy's so tough, man. He gets in the water and he'll just beat up a shark.
Just punch it.
Yeah. So later on, Russell Franklin corners Carter and interrogates him about his past. And we learn he's a reformed criminal, a smuggler who's now on parole, which sounds mundane enough, but he was smuggling child porn inside of sharks. So it's actually pretty dark.
That's pretty
dark shit.
I must have missed that detail, but actually, as soon as you say that, everything makes sense now.
Yeah. There's some real character
Does
development.
that shit come on VHS or what? DVD or what?
Back in '99, I think you were probably getting your child porn on VHS.
VHS, wow.
Yeah. But I'm just assuming. I definitely wasn't buying. I couldn't even have bought child porn in 1999. I was still a child. It would have just been regular porn.
I don't know if that's proper.
I don't think it works like that.
But whatever you got to tell yourself.
See, I imagine a child porn is like you go to the set and the director is a child and the cinematographer is a child and everyone there is just kids and they're also making it for other kids.
Oh, okay.
Is that how that works?
I hope so.
Like they're in like a little like dollhouse and the director's like, action!
Hey, I have pizza. Did you order pizza with gummy worms on it?
There's a lot of character development going on here, Russ.
Oh, yeah, so deep. He hates suits. The man, he's against him.
Yeah, everyone is so over the top nasty to Franklin Russell. There's like, fuck you, asshole, you fucking rich prick, cunt. They're just like, yo, you work for this guy. Chill the fuck out.
Yeah, dude,
this dude's on parole. He's supposed to be like, not pissing people off and watch himself.
He's paying your bills. Hopefully he gives you a fucking raise after he sees how hard you swim with a shark. But
yeah.
No, you're going to be an asshole to him?
Your boss shows up. Hey, nice work. Fuck you, asshole. What's going on in this movie? Stellan Skarsgård plays Dr. Jim Whitlock. He's the other scientist working with Susan Mcallister and also the romantic partner to the marine biologist character Jan Higgins, who's played by Jacqueline McKenzie.
Everybody in this movie seems, you see him in
it's a good
things.
cast.
They got you don't really see them, but they have prolific movie things. They're still making things, all of them.
I mean, Thomas Jane was a newcomer at the time, and LL Cool J is kind of new to movies, but he has a name for being a rap. So it's a good cast.
Right.
Ada Turturro plays the tower operator, Brenda Kearns. She's like full of personality, and she's dancing, and it's a very typical Ada Turturro role.
Yeah, sure.
And then Michael Rapaport as engineer Tom Scoggins.
This movie does not do him any justice on its angles of him. I feel like every angle of Rapaport just makes him look bad.
I don't know
maybe
why.
That's just his face.
Why they would cast Michael Rapaport as the engineer. It's so fucking stupid. It's the most ridiculous casting choice in the entire film, and we haven't even gotten to LL Cool J as Sherman Preacher Dudley, the wisecracking chef who walks around with a parrot companion on his shoulder.
He's got a bad mouthing parrot that just swears.
Back to Tom Scoggins for a bit. I don't know, like, why would you want the guy in charge of the facility to talk like Telly from Kids? If I was hiring some guy to make sure I didn't drown or get eaten by a shark, it wouldn't be someone who talks like the Beastie Boys in 1995.
Yo, I'ma take care of you.
This fucking facility needs to be pressurized at 100 PSI, kid, or else we'll be fucking sinking in shit. It's like, why, Michael Rapaport? All I'll say about LL Cool J is he must have bad breath because it looks like his mustache is running away from his mouth. It's an interesting cut on that mustache.
Yeah.
It's very thin.
It was a 90s. It was a 90s
It's a 90s look.
And also, it's it's a Finnish director, so he's gonna want weird things. He's from
LL,
Finland.
I need you to make your mustache a little bit thinner. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. No, do the mustache even thinner, like a paper thin on your lip. Just above the lip, so thin.
Hey, again,
it was a directorial flourish.
Yeah, he's got to have someone with a weird mustache in every movie.
Yeah. So the crew throws Dr. McAllister a surprise birthday party. A little bit of, this gives you some character development. So there's a bit of a romantic tension between the shark wrangler Carter Blake and Susan Mcallister.
Whoa.
Which, like, yeah, you don't give a fuck about because these are such awful characters. And then, like, in the same scene, she's threatening him and using his criminal past to manipulate him into lying to Russell Franklin about the situation with the sharks.
Right.
It's just terrible writing. So once we get all this, like, sloppy character development out of the way, the crew heads down to the lowest level of the facility to the research lab for an experiment. Which is weird. Like, after they have a party and they're drinking alcohol and shit, and they're going to go do this experiment.
Time to go work down in the basement.
I'll show you how fucking cool this research lab is, dude. You don't even fucking believe it. We pull a fucking shark and I'll fuck that shark, dude.
Yeah, dude,
I will fuck that shark.
Check out my gun.
Yeah. No, they wait till it's nighttime to do their experiment. Like, okay. So when Carter Blake goes out to wrangle one of the sharks, they start exhibiting their hyper intelligence by synchronizing their actions and swimming backward when they recognize his tranquilizer gun.
Sharks can't swim backwards, says somebody.
Yeah,
that's a fact. I mean, sharks gills, the way they're made, they not unlike fish, which have breathable apparatus. They can stay still and still push water through their thing and extract the oxygen. Sharks don't, and they have to just keep swimming
to always move forward.
Yeah. I think there are some sharks that have an ability to do like a pumping thing. There's like over 500 types of
bitch ass sharks, son. Yeah. Real sharks move fucking forward all day, every day,
all the time
on that grind.
Yeah, even when they sleep. I don't think sharks sleep. I think there's over 500 types of shark. They don't sleep. Of course not.
Sharks are fucking hood, dude. Sleeping is the cousin of death, Russ.
I've never heard that, but...
Really? We never listened to Nas.
Oh, shit.
So the sharks take out the cameras and things are looking pretty bad for Carter Blake. So then it almost teases like, oh, is Thomas Jane going to come back? You think this character might be done. Mm-hmm. But then, surprise, he manages to get the shark and bring it back. So the lab can proceed with their experiment.
I will say, this movie, this is the first time I've seen this movie. Mm-hmm. And in the past, it's gotten a bad rap for being a bad movie, right? And I was expecting just bad effects the whole time. That said, the shark effects, typically, maybe like 70% of the time, are on point. They look like real sharks. They went ahead and built these three huge, like 15-foot self-enclosed shark animatronics that used essentially like Boeing 747 equipment and hydraulic shit, and they could self-contained, no wires or anything, and they would swim through the water at speeds of 30 miles an hour. Right, so they have like 3 actual massive sharks, and the thrashing motion looks great. They took from their footage that they got, they did a bunch of analysis, and they made sure all the puppetry of the thing just looks real. And so a lot of the time when you see a shark, it is an animatronic shark, and it looks great. If they had used real sharks at some point, I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference between when they used that and the animatronics. That said, when it comes to the computer-generated effects, so bad. It's like they blew their entire budget on everything else, and they're like, now we got to add these couple of effects we didn't account for, and wow, they're way more expensive to make look good, so just make them look like PS1 graphics, 7 polygons of shark later, and just weird light. Just those scenes really stick out, and it's a shame because the rest of it actually pretty solid. Yeah, no, you're right. The animatronic sharks look great, and the CG leaves a lot to be desired, to put it lightly.
Yeah. Thomas Jane manages to make it back, and the research experiment continues. And the experiment is pretty ridiculous. Basically, like, they just suck some juice out of the test shark's brain.
Yeah, they put this huge needle just so deep.
Yeah, this is what the experiment is. They suck juice out of the shark's brain, and they drip it on like a chunk of human brain with Alzheimer's. And then when they put the human brain under a microscope, bingo, no more Alzheimer's. So that's all it is, a shot of shark juice. So the shark is seemingly sedated in the lab, but as the team's celebrating their success, the shark awakens and it bites the arm off of Dr. Whitlock, which is a pretty great scene. They use like the animatronic shark, and it looks pretty fucking cool.
Dude, these things, They did not skimp on the animatronics. They look good, and they thrash realistically, and this thing bites his arm off real good. Shark's teeth are layered, right? You knew this, and they constantly grow more layers. But the way a shark bites, it essentially grinds its layers together like teeth on a saw, and it just would slice off through bone, through everything, because it's just like saw blades, but stacked.
Yeah.
So yeah, his arm's just it's gone.
Yeah, it doesn't disappoint. And then Brenda Kearns, the tower operator, calls a helicopter that attempts to evacuate Dr. Whitlock. But as he's being lifted...
The CGI helicopter flying through the darkest
CGI helicopter looks like dog shit.
Yeah, really bad.
Yeah. So, as they're trying to lift the stretcher, the cable becomes jammed, and it drops the stretcher into the shark pen. And then the shark grabs the stretcher and pulls the helicopter into the tower. Excuse me. Killing Brenda and the pilot, as well as causing massive explosions that damage the Aquatica facility.
Yeah, this whole weird floating thing just
and it even blows up like Dr. McAllister's little tailspin plane.
No. Oh.
Yeah. So next what happens is the crew back in the lab sees something approaching underwater in the distance through the big bay window.
Someone tell me what the hell that is.
Yeah. And it's the shark holding Dr. Whitlock in the stretcher.
In his mouth.
Yeah.
Shooting forward at 500 miles an hour towards the window.
The shark swims towards them and releases him, sending him into the big window, which then bursts open and floods the facility, putting the crew in peril. This doesn't make sense. A shark can't throw a person underwater. And that glass would be able to withstand an intense amount of pressure. It's a complete disregard of physics. The stretcher would either sink, or if it did hit the glass, it wouldn't do damage to it. If we're accepting that this is an underwater submarine base in the open ocean that's been there since the 40s, then I'm sure the window can handle a piece of debris hitting it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So now Russell Franklin and the crew have to escape the flooding facility while also avoiding the hyper-intelligent sharks that they've been doing medical research on, which kind of makes you want to root for the sharks.
Yeah, you give a shark enough LSD and look at it now.
Exactly.
It can cure brains and throw people through windows underwater.
And after one of the sharks breaks through a door, Dr. McAllister reveals to Russell Franklin that her and Dr. Whitlock did unethical genetic modification to the sharks to enhance their brains. Well, I think it was kind of obvious, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I saw that coming.
After they start swimming backwards, you know it's not right.
Yeah. I want to step back a bit, though, because the whole time all this is going on with the experiment, the movie keeps cutting back to LL Cool J doing scenes alone somewhere else in the facility with a bird.
Yeah, what is he, like making omelets or something?
Yeah, it feels like a lazy way to let the character explain what he's doing without having another cast member.
Sure, because he can talk to someone who's not really...
He's going to talk to himself or talk to the bird. But also, having a bird in the kitchen seems like a real health and hygiene concern. Especially if he's going to finger it food as he's preparing meals.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, let me hear... you want some of this thing off someone's plate? Let me just put it in your little bird tongue.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be too cool with that. I don't know.
LL Cool with it?
Yeah. Ladies love Cool James. So just scenes of LL Cool J alone with a bird talking out loud and overacting. And then after the flooding begins, he's in there talking to the bird, and he's talking to the phone, and he's talking to God. And the film keeps coming back to him for some reason.
You're right. Maybe they only had him for a couple days, too, and they were like, all right, we're filming in the kitchen.
We need to stitch this piece of shit together. Let's get LL Cool J to be a little comic relief, I guess. But it's just, Deep Blue Sea has all these wacky characters, and it's too many comedic relief characters. There's no reason to have Michael Rapaport and LL Cool J.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just one or the other. And actually, I think Hollywood made a rule about that after this film. They're like, look, you can either have LL Cool J or Michael Rapaport, but you can't put both those pieces of shit in a movie together. It's too
Unless they're both the leads.
Yeah. Buddy cop film. Pretty good buddy cop film.
Yeah, I'd watch it.
So, it's got all these comedic relief characters, but what the movie is really missing is a character that actually has Alzheimer's to humanize the disease and give some purpose to the research the team is doing. Like Dr. McAllister, she talks about her dad in the opening, but he should be on the ship. Like if, her 87-year-old father was on the ship wandering around with his pants off, screaming about the 1967 World Series. Yeah. That would at least give some urgency to their work.
Sure. And actually, then you have, it's like almost like a child you also have to take care of.
Susan Mcallister's demented father's just wandering around a World War II era naval base, having flashbacks about the war. And he keeps running into Samuel L. Jackson's character and making uncomfortable racial comments and blaming LL Cool J for stealing his personal belongings.
Yeah, I could see why they wouldn't have gone with that direction. But you're right. I think having someone with Alzheimer's would have definitely upped the stakes.
They're like, Dad, we did it. We got the proteins to fix your brain. He's like, I pooped my pants.
All right, yeah. Let's get to work on it.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? We're making light, but Alzheimer's is a very.
It's just like the
unfortunate.
Alzheimer's thing into the movie doesn't make sense completely.
It is kind of
shoehorned. Yeah.
Well, again, I think it was just because back then they were like, sharks, they're the key to living forever and curing everything.
They saw some like New York Times article where it was like, maybe sharks will fix Alzheimer's. I'm like, we'll put that in the movie.
Yeah.
And they shoehorned it into the movie. It's a fucking terrible script. It's a terrible script in a pretty decent movie. Which is what I think is interesting about Deep Blue Sea.
I heard that the script was the guy who wrote it. He wrote it after he witnessed on his beachfront property a horrible shark attack that actually like mangled the person pretty horribly and killed him maybe. And he had nightmares about being stuck in a corridor with a shark that could read his mind for like months, and then he wrote this script. It's not exactly
fucked up nightmare. Dude.
Yeah, right. That's pretty scary.
Like, what's worse than being stuck in the water with a shark? Oh, it can read your mind.
Yeah, right.
You're fucked.
No, let me swim this way. No, it's gonna know.
So, the Michael Rapaport character, the hip '90s engineer, he's mostly there to conveniently explain how the facility works and like whatever bullshit science the audience needs to know to move the plot forward. Terrible casting on Tom Scoggins. I would believe Michael Rapaport as the tower operator or the chef.
Sure.
But a fast-talking New York City engineer?
Yeah, no. He's someone's cousin. He's someone's bumbling cousin.
This is why Michael Rapaport isn't in movies anymore. You can't be a 53-year-old Jewish man talking like you're in the Junior Mafia in 1997 and expect people to believe you're a scientist or a fucking professor or like whatever a 53-year-old guy needs to be in a movie.
Right. It's not.
So that's why he's doing a podcast like us now.
Hey, well, at least we got one up. Although he was in movies.
He was in movies.
So that's he gets
the
royalties for
He always played sniveling cowards in movies, but he was always in them.
Yeah.
So pretty decent scene with LL Cool J and one of the sharks in the kitchen.
Sure.
Lots of practical shark effects.
He's climbing up things.
Yeah. Like you said, it looks so much better than the CG sharks in the movie.
I don't know why they just didn't avoid showing. I think that's the thing. After Jurassic Park, everyone's like, we just want to see the creatures. You could still keep them secret. You can still tease them and show us in the things that work rather than relying on effects that just don't work. Cut that shit out. It takes the movie down a notch when you just have bad effects. Cut around it. Be creative. Don't just... Yeah,
well, also, I think it was a creative choice not to hide the sharks. They didn't want to make it like Jaws. They want to make it something that's different, its own thing. They just want to show the sharks.
Right.
And also, it's easy for us to say the CG looks like shit 20 years later.
Right.
And it's not as big of a budget as Jurassic Park. The CG's not as good as Jurassic Park.
Oh, guaranteed.
But at the time, I don't know if people really thought it looked that shitty. I think it was just
In 99? Yeah, I mean, with The Matrix and...
Now, when you watch it, it looks like shit. So,
It's just that whenever someone gets eaten, they also become a computer.
Also, the problem with it isn't just that the sharks look bad. It's the actual animation. They're the way the sharks swim is not good. They're doing backflips and they're just moving way too much. If they just made them swim like regular fucking sharks, it would look halfway decent.
Yeah,
but it's just not.
Yeah,
but also this is
over-animate.
half the budget of Jurassic Park.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I guess they just don't have the money to do
and
it properly.
Considerably less production time. Jurassic Park was in
forever
pre-pro for
forever.
Yeah.
But the CG sharks are bad, and
he climbs into LL Cool J climbs into the oven. What a crazy idea! It's funny that a chef would have to climb into the oven.
Yeah, it's a little bit of irony, I guess. But what the movie does good is it doesn't build suspense by not showing you the shark, but the rising water and the movie does build suspense well.
Yes,
the director did do a good job with that. So after escaping from an oven that the super smart Velociraptor shark turns on, Preacher tosses a lighter, causing an explosion, killing the shark. So now we're down to 2 remaining sharks, and it's just bad logic. It's a movie cliche. It's dumb, and there's also like no attempt made at originality.
Yeah. I don't know how you blow up that shark. There was a lot of mislogic there too. Like,
no, it does.
Can you take a Zippo out of your pocket, out of your wet pocket, and light it?
Yeah, a Zippo you could light wet, I believe.
Is that right? Because the wick is.
No, I think a Zippo. The whole point of a Zippo is that you could light it wet.
Is that
Maybe
right?
I'm wrong.
I mean, they close for sure, so they keep out of the rain. They're like water.
But that's not even the worst
resistant.
logic there. It's like if you filled the room with gas enough that it's going to explode. It's not just going to explode over there.
Over there on the shark.
Also, he dives over the shark and then swims to the door. Dude, it's a fucking shark. You're not going to outswim the shark.
I felt you jump into the water right behind it. Yeah.
It's bad. This is the point where you're starting to get insulted as a viewer. Also, I don't understand why have the sharks split up if their enhanced brain chemistry has recently led them to hunting in packs, and we're to believe that they're smarter now.
Working together.
So as soon as they get into the facility, they just split up.
Yeah, because before
they never attack in
before
groups.
they had coordinated attacks, and now they.
Yeah.
There's only so much room in each corridor, Gary.
It's probably a lot. It's probably just like it would have been difficult to film multiple sharks. And how do you have LL Cool J escape multiple sharks?
No.
I mean, you probably just jump over their heads or whatever.
Yeah, he just double backflips.
Yeah.
He grabs his bird's legs and they fly off into the sunset.
Yeah. Yeah. So the crew makes it to a little submarine dock, only to find the submarine has been destroyed by the sharks.
Goddamn sharks! Somehow they knocked that submarine.
It would have been fun to see the shitty CG sharks bouncing around, breaking the submarines.
Yeah,
they probably just cut that because it was so stupid.
Bouncing between their noses like seals.
Yeah. So as the group fights with each other, Franklin Russell steps forward and he admits to murder. Right?
Yeah, I killed people.
Pretty interesting. He tells everyone,
I ate their flesh.
He tells everyone that the 2 people that died on Everest were, I guess, killed by him and the other survivors.
That's what it sounded like. There was some sort of kerfuffle and someone.
So this is his way of boosting morale and stepping into a leadership position, is admitting that the last time he was in a leadership position, he got 2 people killed.
I'll kill anybody.
Yeah.
Now listen to me.
So he's continuing on with his big morale speech when out of nowhere, a shitty-looking CG shark bursts out of the water and grabs him. And it's pretty cool as far as a plot point, but terrible shark.
Oh, and then Sam Jackson just turns into a computer.
Yeah, the CG humans are particularly
really
bad.
I mean,
it's a good way to thwart the audience's expectations after setting him up to be the hero.
Right.
So obviously, this movie is doing that well.
I was surprised. I did. I mean, if I didn't know that happened before as a spoiler.
Yeah. And now I think that's kind of like the most.
That's the scene.
Kind of the prominent scene of the film that everybody talks about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the movie has some great mechanical and practical effects, but the CG stuff just feels pretty subpar.
So bad.
And I think it's just because of the budget. It's like half the budget of Jurassic Park. It's probably smaller budget for CG.
I think they were doing good things with computers by 99.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the animation in Jurassic Park looks great, but how much they spend on it? $165 million.
Yeah, right, sure.
They spent a lot of money. So the crew tries to escape through a maintenance shaft, which destabilizes the submarine pool and it accelerates the flooding.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. That idea.
The plot with the facility flooding is like kind of decent.
Yeah,
they're
it's
doing a
scary.
good job with that.
You're trying to get out of this facility. You can only go certain ways because flooding in corridors and stuff. That's like a claustrophobic nightmare in itself. Like if there weren't sharks, that's still very scary.
Absolutely. Escaping a flooding facility could be a movie. So they start climbing the shaft, attempting to avoid the rising water and the sharks below. And the ladder breaks and Jan falls into the water, and she's eaten pussy first by the shark.
Oh, yeah.
Which seems particularly painful.
It goes straight for the crotch.
Yeah,
she's like doing a split over
right
top of
legs.
it while it's nya.
Yeah. Because you're still alive while your pussy's getting eaten by a shark. It's not. You'd rather have your head getting eaten first. You'd die.
She's
right
trying
away.
to grab Jane's hand while it's happening, and the shark, it smelled the menstruation in the water.
Yeah.
Knew where to go.
It sniffed her out right away. Went right for her crotch. It's like when you bring a girlfriend over and your dog just goes right for her lap.
Get down, boy.
Yeah.
Then you got to hump your dog to.
Then you have to have sex with your dog to
put it in its place.
Put it in its place, exactly.
Dominance.
That's dog training 101. The remaining crew is then rescued by LL Cool J's character Preacher, who's on the level above them, and he can help them climb up from level 3 to level 2. Next they go into... What's that?
Well, luckily
Luckily,
he showed
yeah.
up because we were worried he had died, right? No, he blew up the shark.
I think we knew he was alive, but it's like he had to rendezvous with them at some point.
Yeah,
is like kind of set up for it. Then they go into Jan's room, and Scoggins is looking for her vibrator so he can get batteries for the flashlight.
Sure.
Which is kind of funny, but then they cut back to him, and he's got this like massive 90s flashlight, and it's just like, it works! Which makes you wonder what kind of massive sex toy this lady had that required the same like gigantic D
7
batteries.
D cells. Yeah.
It's like a huge fucking flashlight. Also, why do they even need a flashlight? The facility has been flooding for 45 minutes now, and all the lights are still working. This place is very well lit for a sinking underwater lab in the middle of the ocean at night.
Yeah, you know, and every time you see outside in the water, it's pretty bright in the water too. It's like light blue, as if it was
even
the
if they
daytime.
cut the lights off, then suddenly there's all this moonlight pouring into lights. It's like, where's this moonlight coming from?
The ocean.
The window? Well,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So Susan goes back to her room to get her research and presumably the batteries from her dildo. And then she's attacked by a shark, so she takes off her wetsuit in what feels like a very forced semi-nude scene.
It was like, yeah, why is she undressing? Yeah. But it's so she can, save her feet from being, she starts working on this thing.
Well, she wants to stand on the wetsuit to insulate herself.
Yeah, exactly, from her plan, but it's really, yeah.
And then she kills the shark by feeding it a live wire harness, which electrocutes the shark. These shark deaths are getting pretty dumb.
Yeah.
It'd be more believable if they just had a gun.
And they shot the shark?
They just had a big gun, and they're just shooting these sharks with a gun or something.
Instead of electrocuting the water.
Instead of feeding it a wire. Every shitty shark cliche you've already seen in Jaws.
Right. You blow it up, you feed it, you electrocute it, you blow it up again. Yeah. There's only so many. Harpoon in the eye. You can do some shit.
Yeah.
Also, she's in her room trying to get information. She's trying to get like one of those. I used to have one of those discs. It was like in the 90s, it was a big, thick, portable, like floppy, but it was thick, I don't know if it's CF or it's definitely not CF. MX or no, what the hell was it called? It was huge. But anyway, that's just floating around in the water. That's not going to work ever again. I don't know why she thinks she should even bother taking it out of the water and trying to save it, but she keeps like trying to reach in, and she ultimately melts it, but like, what was that? That was the research they did on the sharks?
Yeah, she's trying to get her research. And like, honestly, the stripping down part seems like unnecessary, but it keeps the lead actress on her toes if she knows she has to be in her panties halfway through the shoot. She'll probably take it easy on the crafty. So I get why they did that. Also, they really grease up her chest for this.
Oh, she got so shiny.
Which, like, she doesn't have tits, but they still greased her up.
They're very shiny.
Just hoping if you rub enough grease on them.
Hey, all the highlights and shadows really... It worked.
Yeah.
She's got a fine body, and if that's what's the point of the scene.
She's definitely toit. She keeps it toit.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, for the R rating and the gore, this movie is kind of lacking in nudity. There's the bikini girls in the opening and little titty Saffron Burrows in her undies, but there's no like actual full nudity scene.
No.
In Deep Blue Sea. So by the conclusion of the film, we're down to Preacher, Carter Blake, and Susan Mcallister. And after Preacher gives a weird biblical speech where he says some scripture and adds motherfucker to it. And that was very cool in the 90s.
What?
You get a black guy to like read some scripture and add like motherfucker to it.
Sure. While you guys hold hands.
Yo, God's got my back because I got the biggest dick in the valley. And I be blowing bitches' backs out like Abraham. Everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah. Amen.
So they escape by swimming out and using oxygen tanks with life vests to trick the genius sharks that are somehow smart enough to recognize a gun, but they mistake an oxygen tank for a human. Mm-hmm. And when they get to the surface, Preacher gets attacked and pulled around by a shark.
No! Preacher!
Looks really amazing.
Yeah, it's whipping around probably because it's a big mechanical shark built out of 747 parts whipping a guy around through the water.
It's literally just a shark-shaped submarine pulling him around. And I guess it looks like it's really LL Cool J in a lot of it, maybe like a stunt performer.
For like maybe shots. Underwater stuff or something where you're not
seeing
his
looks like
face.
You really see him in a lot of it, right?
It does.
That's what it looked like to me.
And actually, LL Cool J earlier in the movie, He might have done his own stunts because he's hit by a wave of water down some stairs that actually messed him up. Like, he gets knocked onto his ass on the stairs from, like, thousands of gallons of water pumping down. And that was actually him. And I think he had, like, a head injury or something. And in the movie, he still has a head injury. I wonder if they just threw makeup up over top of his already small head injury.
Yeah, they fucked up in the beginning too, and they knocked down a bunch of people with water and almost got injured a few people.
Is that right?
In that opening scene where Thomas Jane gets knocked down on the water,
with the helicopter and stuff
on the catwalk, that's just him really falling.
Just getting hit with thousands of pounds of water. I mean, again, they didn't go small on the water. They used Titanic gushes to just blast these people because it looks scary. That much water is a lot.
It's dangerous. You could drown someone for sure. It's so Preacher stabs the shark in the eye with his cross, and he survives the incident with the shark.
Sharks hate getting stabbed in the eye.
Yeah, apparently
they'll just let go of you. They won't shake you to bits. Instead, they'll let go of you.
Yeah. So Carter Blake,
maybe because it was a cross.
That's exactly why. Yeah, his religion saved him. So Carter Blake comes to the realization that the sharks have been using them to flood the facility so they can make it over the fences to freedom. He then says the title of the film aloud, which is a real tenet of great film dialogue.
Sure.
So Susan and Carter quickly devise a plan to blow up the shark.
We're gonna blow it up.
Pretty similar to the conclusion of Jaws.
It's gonna eat a tank, and we're gonna say a catchy line. We're gonna say what do they say in Jaws?
Die, you son of a, and then hear him swear.
Oh, good, because that would be too much.
Yeah. So they're gonna hit the shark with a spear full of gunpowder, and then use an electric charge to ignite the IED. So the shark,
not to be confused with the IUD.
What's the IUD? It's what you do so you don't get pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got one of those?
I have two.
Yeah.
I want to make doubly sure.
Yeah.
One in each hole, Gary.
So the shark is too far, so Dr. McAllister sacrifices herself by cutting her hands and jumping into the water to attract the shark.
Yeah. Okay. Here's an issue I have with a lot of movies. When you need blood and you cut your hand, everyone cuts it so deep down, like the most unhealable part. Just straight across your palm. We're just gonna keep flexing all the fucking time, and they cut so deep, or they cut around your, just
that's
in the crease.
Your problem with this scene.
Well, no,
I gotta think a whole other fucking bunch of problems with this scene.
No, that's just my issue with cutting yourself to make blood in general. If you got to do a little blood pact or whatever, prick your thumb. Don't slice your thumb deep with a scalpel. Well,
also the shark is heading out the fence.
Sure.
And you're far away in an ocean of water. You think dripping like
a drop of blood?
The shark wants to leave. We just established this.
Also, I'm pretty sure Mythbusters disproved human blood being attractive to sharks.
Oh, okay.
Whether or not they went into a deep discussion of it, that's something else. But I'm pretty sure.
But even if we accept that is the case, it's still kind of unlikely.
Right.
But anyways,
cuts her hand. Says,
she cuts her hand.
Come to mama.
What happened here is they don't want this character to survive because she's kind of the villain. She's kind of responsible. So they made a decision to have her sacrifice herself because they think that makes more sense. And I'm sure I think they reshot this. So,
you think this was I'm
pretty sure they reshot this after they started showing it to people, and they were like, "This bitch shouldn't live." Yeah, so the shark gets her. She just gets fucking devoured. But not after.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, you don't expect it. She's the lead. She's on the poster.
She's on a poster.
But they're trying to thwart your expectations.
Right.
That's why LL Cool J and the Unknown Guy are the ones who end up surviving.
But yeah, I mean, even as I saw it eat her and she turned into a computer bit, when she turned into 5 pixels, I was almost convinced that it maybe ate some other body that was just floating around or something. Because I was like, well, they wouldn't kill her.
Yeah, and I saw it 20 years ago, so I guess it was already ruined for me. But.
Yeah, sure. But all right, yeah. So anyway, she dies, and
she dies, but not before Carter Blake jumps into the water to rescue her. So now he's in the water, out swimming this fucking massive shark.
Well, he's a very fast swimmer.
Yeah, he's such a fast swimmer. He's fucking out swimming this thing that's huge. This thing turns and it's around you. Like, it just makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
And eventually he's like riding around on its back. And then Preacher comes.
Yeehaw!
Just riding around. He's a shark wrangler. You know, this guy. He's so tough and badass. And Preacher comes to the rescue with the spear gun, shooting the shark.
but also
And Carter, yeah,
shoots right through his fin and
It's an
Carter's
interesting
leg.
plot point to squeeze in there.
Yeah.
And he tells Preacher to ignite as the shark is going through the fence, and he kind of frees himself like at the last minute, and the shark
he gets like wedged against the fence. I figured that would rip his leg wide open.
It doesn't
or, like,
make a whole lot of
off.
sense. I guess he pulls it out and puts it back in. I don't know. Or he
what?
gets his leg out.
Yeah, he definitely hits that fence real hard. I was like,
They're trying to
just
keep
ripped in half.
keep the movie tense until the last minute, which I get, and they do a pretty good job at that. So as the shark escapes the pen, it explodes, leaving Preacher and Carter Blake as the survivors.
Explodes real big in the water. That was pretty good too. It's a
Good
big
explosion. Yeah, it's a
red
big
bloody
blow up.
explosion
Yeah.
in the ocean or tank or wherever they are.
Yeah. Fucking the very
In the kiddie pool.
calm ocean.
Yeah.
So, is Deep Blue Sea a stupid movie? Yes, but you have to give the filmmakers credit for what they did right. They're casting well and lesser-known actors in key roles to make it harder to tell who's going to get killed.
Yeah,
and who's going to survive.
Thomas Jane and LL Cool J are sitting there on
Well, you
on
see
debris
Ada
at the end.
Turturro as the tower operator. You're like, oh, that's a big actress. She's probably going to stick around for a bit.
No,
And then nope, she gets killed pretty quick.
She's drowned underneath the water.
Yeah.
Also, that scene, she's drowned. Thomas Jane, who's the baddest ass mofo around, right? He swims with sharks.
He doesn't save Ada Turturro?
He
He can swim with a shark, Russ, but not a whale.
He sees her dead body and freaks out. He like,
Oh, okay.
and he swims up to the top and he yells and like.
Oh, was that her dead body? I thought it was Jim.
What?
I thought it was Dr. Whitlock that he found. Maybe it was her. I don't remember.
I think it was the radio tower operator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. The woman.
Yeah, sure. I don't remember. But...
It doesn't matter. He finds a dead body and freaks out after he's already seen like 5 people brutally slaughtered in front of his eyes by sharks.
Yeah.
But so that was kind of a weird thing, and no, I do like that they finished off the movie with Carter and LL Cool J making out on top of a raft or whatever, and being like, "Hey, Carter,
I can't quit you, man."
You ever kiss a man?
Yeah. He says some cliche ass shit like, "I can't wait to get back to the hood" or something.
Oh yeah. I would rather be in.
And I think it's just a VO. They just like put it over his.
Right,
he's just laying there. He's not saying anything.
Like, have him say something racist real quick.
Yeah.
Hello, Cool J, can you come in here and say something
Hello,
that
can you
everyone's
say
going to
something
cringe
about how you
at?
want to get back to your hose?
Yeah,
something like that.
Let's make sure it's real cringy in 20 years.
Yeah. So the script is bad, the characterization is bad, but like a phoenix from the ashes, Rise is a pretty decent shark movie.
Yeah. All things considered, I did enjoy watching it.
Yeah, Deep Blue Sea, it transcends its own shittiness with like great action sequences and cool shark deaths. Great cast, and you have to give the filmmakers credit for casting it well.
Yep, they got quite the thing.
Great location, and
the-
great set piece.
Yep,
Yeah,
that all looks really good.
yeah. There's some good filmmaking and some bad filmmaking. Some subpar CGI paired with amazing practical shark effects, and Samuel L. Jackson for no reason. I'm still giving it 3 stars. I think.
Yeah,
Because it's decent enough that you can recommend it, but it's still kind of a shitty movie.
yeah. I don't want to give it 4 stars. I want it to have like 3.5 stars, but I said I wasn't going to do that shit because I might as well give it like out of 100 scale.
You're kind of cheating the half star, I guess.
So I'll give it. I give everything 3 stars though, Gary. Is that fine?
You got to give it what you think it is. I mean, to me, 3 stars is like the lowest. That's still like a good movie.
Right.
Like 2 stars is kind of not a good movie. Or,
Right.
You know what I mean?
De Niro comes out of the movie and says, "Meh, I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. I like the sharks."
So,
All right, yeah, I give it 3 stars.
So I guess we both give it 3 stars. It's decent enough, and it's like because there weren't a lot of shark movies, it's basically the best one of the whole decade. Also, like another
Best
thing
one
that's
ever.
interesting about Deep Blue Sea is like it's the last of the big budget R-rated B movies with gore.
Sure.
They don't really make movies like this anymore. Not with budgets this big and serious names. And it's pretty unfortunate because movies like this are way more fun than the PG-13 popcorn movies that they're churning out now.
Do they even do creature features anymore?
Yeah, they're PG-13
but they're
now.
okay.
They
sure.
can't. You can't
like
make this-
Sharknado and
The Meg.
the Meg. Sure.
It's a huge budget PG-13 shark movie. Was it good?
I didn't see it.
Nobody saw it. Nobody liked it. It was a fucking piece of shit. Why? So why can't they make fun movies anymore? That's what I don't get. Shark movies have turned into complete garbage. Right now it's like Sharknado and the Meg.
Sharktopus meets Fart Man.
So how do you not like? This is one of the great shark movies.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. There was 47 meters down, I think, was fine.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And there was
I
even
think the
a
other one
sequel-
that kind of people talk about is like Open Water, which is like the weird kind of indie movie, which I don't think I've seen.
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
I really haven't seen that many shark films, despite there being a lot of them now. It's its own genre. The shark
Since all the Sci-Fi Channel shit, I guess, right?
I guess. I mean, just
But
sharks.
that's all. It's all crap, and it's like they're kind of comedies because they're so bad, right?
But I mean, just sharksploitation in general has always,
Yeah.
since Jaws, has been a genre.
Sure.
You know, and that's been around for all the sequels and all these other.
Yeah, it's just a bummer because, like, you know, I mean, Jaws is a great film, and like, they immediately turned it into a shitty franchise. Like, the second one sucks, the third one sucks, the fourth one sucks, and they kind of like killed the shark movie. And now you can't even really make a R-rated big movie with real actors and stuff. So now it's not happening. So if you want to watch one, you're pretty much down to Deep Blue Sea and Jaws. Honestly, I can't think of one after Deep Blue Sea. I'm thinking like, did Lake Placid, was that R-rated with gore? I think that was before.
Was Lake Placid R-rated? Maybe.
Yeah.
It might have been. And then...
You get my point. Movies suck now.
Yeah. Yeah, we got... You know, go see Jurassic Park Dominion.
It's confusing. It's like, why not? People would go see that.
People see that. People love that.
I guess that the problem is that they make the budget so big now. It has to.
You have to have return on investment
because it can't make its money if it's R-rated.
So if you make it PG-13, you can still sell it to 8-year-olds. You know.
But when did people become such fucking babies? I saw this when I was 11 with my fucking grandpa. We had a good time. I don't understand.
What did your grandpa say about it?
He liked it. It was a fucking
that was
shark
cool.
movie. Yeah.
I liked when her boobs got real shiny.
Well, that's the thing. There's not a lot of nudity in the movie, and like,
No.
you could take a kid to see this. It's just gore. It's like I would take a 10-year-old to this. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's really nothing that like
they don't see nowadays on everything.
It's nothing that would be like uncomfortable to sit with a child through. It's like,
I mean, it is violent. Like people do get ripped apart. That guy's arm
Yeah.
effect looks great, but pretty much all the deaths are really quick and like kind of mostly CG.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, Gary. They just don't make them like they used to because they can't.
They just don't make them like they used to, Russ.
That thing is gone with the that type of movie is gone with the dinosaurs. But sharks will continue to exist.
Yep.
And so they'll still make
Those types of movies are dead, and soon we will be dead with them.
But sharks, they'll live on past humans.
Sharks
Guaranteed.
will live forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless we've ruined the oceans, which we're working on.
Yeah.
But
We're working on
we're
it.
not
We'll
trying
get it.
we're working towards that.
See, you think, all the disposable plastics and shit is bad, but we need to kill all the sharks, guys. So go to McDonald's, get yourself a,
McShark
double
nuggets.
cheeseburger with the old school styrofoam container that kills 3 children for everyone that's made.
Throw it out the window of your car as you drive 80 down the highway.
It's starting to sound like a Dennis Leary bit now.
Yeah. I'm an asshole.
Because we got the bombs. And I'm going to steal Bill Hicks' act and do it real loud because he's dead now. I remember when I was a kid, I saw No Cure for Cancer. And I thought it was so funny. And I tried to rewatch it recently. And I'm like, this really isn't
Doesn't
good.
stand up.
It's not good. It's
It
just
doesn't
shitty.
stand up.
Yeah. Oh, man. And there, dude. That's just too funny.